Hi everyone, and welcome to C.A.R.S. Today I'm going to talk about something that I just learned with practical application on my Ford Maverick. So you can see here in the manual, page 361 for my 2024 Ford Maverick XL EcoBoost with the all-wheel drive, that this is the basic idea involved for lowering down the spare tire. But let's back up a bit and talk a little bit more about the spare tire and the different types. So if we go here to page 359, you'll notice there are a few different kinds of tires. Now, be sure to read up on the warnings and the precautions for your specific Maverick, or any vehicle for that matter. But keep in mind with the Maverick, there are three types listed. One is the T-type mini spare. It tells you how to differentiate that with the letter T. The second type is the full-size dissimilar spare with the label on the wheel that says this wheel and tire assembly for temporary use only. And it has lots of precautions there. If we go on to page 360, it tells you not to even exceed 50 miles per hour and so forth. Can't tow a trailer with it and all of that. It can affect ground clearance and parking at curbs. But then there's the kind that I have, the full-size dissimilar spare without label on wheel. So mine is like the steely wheels that I have right now. I want to say the rim size is a 7 by 17 inch rim. And it just happens to have a different size rubber on it. In other words, the tire itself is different. However, the rim is identical to the other four rims. And if I wanted to, I could technically put on one of my regular Continental tire types, and then it would be a full-size tire, if that makes sense. But in any case, even with the one that comes with it, it says when driving with a full-size dissimilar spare wheel and tire assembly, do not exceed 70 miles per hour. So in other words, you can go highway speeds with it, and it doesn't say that you're not allowed to tow a trailer with it. So it is full size, but it can affect handling, stability, and braking performance, and comfort and noise. It can also affect ground clearance and parking at curbs, winter weather driving, wet weather driving, and all-wheel driving. So it does say that caution should be given to towing a trailer and so forth. Now, the main objective of this particular video is to talk about how to change or remove the spare tire. So the first thing is to remove the vehicle jack and tool bag. The vehicle jack and tool bag are on the rear passenger side of your vehicle behind the passenger seat. So it says passenger side. For mine at least, it was actually in the center, but in the passenger compartment in the rear. So I started looking on the passenger side as opposed to the driver's side, and I'm like, oh, there it is in the middle. But you do have to move the seat back forward in order to get at this. And you'll see it has Velcro straps, and then it has a wing bolt where the arrow is pointing. So turn the wing bolt on the jack bracket counterclockwise to release the jack and tool bag from the jack bracket. Now be sure to check out the video here that you'll see up at the top. And then also there's another video that I'm going to include down below in the description. So be sure to check out both of those videos if you want to get more of a real hands-on visual of what this looks like. But I had my amazing friends, family really, Kevin and Baylee, who helped me out with my particular truck when I wanted to lower that spare tire so that I could inflate it to the proper PSI, because I'm getting ready to take a little round trip of about 150 miles all total, and I had never inflated that spare tire. It's supposed to be at 39 psi according to the sticker in the driver's door area, and I had it down to 31 psi. So not terrible. It was actually better than I was expecting, but I suppose because of no load-bearing weight on the tire, with it tucked up there underneath, and then perhaps one time I went in for maintenance, the dealer added some air to it. But in any case, it was only 31 versus the 39, so I did pump that up. In fact, Baylee helped me with the pumping with a hand tire pump, so that was nice. So this tells you to turn the wing bolt on the jack bracket counterclockwise to release the jack and tool bag from the jack bracket. Now I'm not going to read over everything here, but you'll notice in your manual, this is page 361 of my manual, it tells you to remove the jack and tool bag and release the jack. It tells you how to slide it off and so forth, but the interesting part is that you should take the tools here. Notice, by the way, where my mouse arrow is pointing, there's a little latch there that you can push down with your thumb. That's thanks to Kevin helping me realize that you didn't just have to try to push down that little tab there where the mouse is pointing. You can actually push down on this lever that is connected to the spring for the tab. And there's another one here for when it goes into the main lug tool here. And then I put some masking tape right around this area so that when it slid in to where this big arrow is pointing, it protected the paint and trim and so forth, so that when this was being turned, it wouldn't scrape anything up if it wasn't quite perfectly aligned in that spot. But as you'll notice, you have to lower that spare tire by turning counterclockwise. Now this does mention on the next page, once you've fully inserted the jack handle through the bumper hole and you've turned it counterclockwise, it says to do so until the tire is lowered to the ground and the cable is slightly slack. Well, I would say make sure it's plenty slack to be able to allow the tire to be slid rearward from under the vehicle, because we tried it when it was just a little slack and it's really hard to get under there and remove the retainer from the center of the wheel. And you'll see that in the videos that I'm including here. There's in my case anyway, a little blue cone-shaped protector plug almost that goes in the center of the wheel. And you have to kind of pry that open a little bit because it has a slit down the side, and then the cables come out through that, and then you can take the retainer metal piece and the cables and put them through the center of the wheel, and then you can get the wheel off to pump it up or to change it out or whatever you need to do. And the rest of this goes over the jacking process and so forth. But in any case, be sure and check out the videos, and be sure and read over your manual. Be prepared, make sure you know where your supplies are, so that if you are stuck on the side of the road, especially in the middle of the night or in an awkward position, that there's one less thing you need to be aware of, and you'll already know how to do this process. I do recommend doing it at least once as soon as you can to make sure you know what's involved, and that'll give you an opportunity to ensure that the tire is properly inflated, because a flat spare tire is not going to help you out, is it? All right, thank you everyone. This is Jared with C.A.R.S. See you next time.